Hello once again, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of AIW's The Card is Going to Change. Before we get into this week's episode, of course, the obligatory shout out to our sponsors who have kept this show going throughout the years, and to you for free whenever we put it out, and you get to listen on whatever platform you choose to. Thanks to Angelo's Pizza. If you've never tried the delicious award-winning Angelo's Pizza at any of our AIW shows, I encourage you to get to Angelo's on Madison Avenue in beautiful Lakewood, Ohio. They have more than just pizza, all sorts of great pasta dishes and appetizers. A nice little Italian cuisine joint, if you're going to give it a Yelp review. Call it something like that. It's great for any occasion. Literally, any occasion. And, of course, thanks to Thrift Store Jobber, awesome custom merchandise, old school merchandise, I should say. NASCAR, pro wrestling, doesn't matter. The guy just goes diving and finds amazing thrift items for you that are rare. So if you are quite the collector of merchandise, Thrift Store Jobber is who you want to check out on social media. And thanks to the merger of IWTV and SmartMark Video, watching AIW has never been easier. If you go to smartmarkvideo.com, you can purchase any DVD available at any point in time. Anything ever that's been recorded in terms of AIW, available now at smartmarkvideo.com on DVD, and I think mostly MP4. So you've got that. And then, of course, sign up using the code ABSOLUTE at independentwrestling.tv, and you will be signed up for not only a rotating archive of AIW shows, but also so many other independent wrestling promotions. And of course, with that subscription, you're going to catch every episode of AIW's Go for Broke. And that's probably a great lead off to jump into this week's episode. As always, joined by AIW owner John Thorne. My name is Steve Guy, your moderator of sorts. And episode 2, Go for Broke.
Well, I don't know what episode of the podcast this is, but
episode 2 of Go for Broke.
Episode 2 of Go for Broke has aired, debuted, premiered, all that lingo, and we are off and running on our regularly scheduled day of the week now, Tuesdays at 10 p.m.
That's right. So check us out. Again, the debut episode was at 6 p.m. on a Thursday. Last week it was 10 p.m. on Tuesday. That is our regular time slot. So if you're listening to this on Monday or Tuesday, tune in to IWTV at 10 p.m. on Tuesday, and you're going to catch episode 3 in real time.
Trying to get some of those AEW numbers, man. 1.2 million. You know, that would certainly change a lot of things in the AIW camp if we could score 1.2 million views on IWTV. I'll tell you that. We're
so close. If you just fudge some decimal points a little bit there.
Yeah, we got to move a couple decimals. But both of those episodes are now also available on demand, VOD, whatever your terminology you use is. Archived footage. It's available on our channel or section or whatever it's called on the IWTV service. I don't know. Listen, I'm a little out of it this week. I had a surgery on Wednesday and pain pilled up right now. Still in quite a bit of pain. So I don't know if I'm even going to make it through this thing without falling asleep. But I'm going to give it a shot.
This is like 1990s, late 1980s pro wrestling right here, brother. Just crush those pain pills and...
Yeah, they don't give you any of those good 1980s or 90s pain pills anymore. They give you real low 10 count of some real low stuff. But it's not working too well. But it makes me pretty sleepy, I'll tell you that.
Well, the danger. If they give you those, you got to be careful. We don't want you to end up at the Ebb Tide Treatment Center.
Well, I would like to end up there because I'm pretty sure they still owe us some money, but
they owe us quite a bit of money.
That's for another day. But I'm struggling today. We'll give it a shot. I had some sebaceous cysts on my back that were extremely painful for a while, and they wanted to operate. So I did surgery on Wednesday. and I've been pretty much on the shelf since Wednesday, struggling. It's been quite the struggle.
That's a big word. Sebaceous?
Yeah. Sebaceous cyst. And, I've been, it's like, they were like all over my back. So I just have this I had this giant bandage that was covering my entire back essentially. And it was very uncomfortable for the last couple days.
Yeah.
Even more uncomfortable to try to remove it because they like glued all the incisions shut. So the glue rubbed off on the bandages. And that was quite the painful experience to try to get that thing off so I can try to clean it, you know what I mean? But that's what I've been doing for the last couple days. I've been fucking seriously like down and out for the count. So I even forgot that we were supposed to do this podcast, to be perfectly honest with you. I didn't even know what day it was. So here we are, Sunday evening, getting ready for you guys to listen to this on Monday. And what's on the docket, Steve? Let's moderate. Let's get it going.
Well, I want you to get all that out first here. Let's everybody enjoy the loopiness of drugged up John Thorne here for a bit. Let me ask you this, John Thorne: Are you happy thus far with the reaction to Go for Broke?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, obviously, from getting the reports, episode 1 saw way more viewership than episode 2 as far as the live numbers are concerned. But, there's a lot of factors that went into that. Like we were part of this giant WrestleMania weekend package, streaming package, or, presentation, wherever you want to call it. And Go for Broke definitely benefited from that. It will be interesting to see, if the numbers fluctuate up or down either way from the, regular time slot of Tuesday, which, obviously was way less than the premiere episode. So, but, I haven't seen any real negative feedback on it, per se. I've listened to a couple of the review podcasts, like Wrestling Cheers have reviewed the episodes, and just kind of listening to see, if what we're doing, and there's little Easter eggs that we have, were put in the episodes, and seeing if people picked up on them, and different stuff like that, and seeing if, listen, this was a project that was really designed to re-engage our hardcore fans, and it is really targeted to the hardcore fans, but it is also made in a way to where you don't necessarily have to be a hardcore fan to understand the concept of it.
Right.
So, it's interesting to see, if it is hitting with the hardcore fans, and if it is also hitting with, newer fans or people that aren't so familiar with this. So, so far so good, I think. I haven't seen anything too negative. I certainly expected a lot more negative feedback, especially with the way the matches are, and some of the format. It's very, I guess, unconventional as compared to a lot of the other presentations of independent wrestling over the last year. So I wasn't sure if it would be received well or not, and it seems people are I guess refreshed with the presentation, and some of the shorter matches, and some of the matches that I did not think were up to par to say like a regular AIW event. People seem to be very blown away, not blown away, I don't know what the proper term is, but I guess satisfied with them. I know I kind of set the bar a little low in the preview episodes that on this podcast that we did. So I think that people have been pleasantly surprised by some of the hidden gems, so to speak, that have popped out in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think that people are starting to kind of notice and realize now what we've been saying, that this is a wrestling show, but it's not a wrestling show first, if that makes sense, in terms of the wrestling. There's a lot that goes on during the show, and sometimes the wrestling is the least important part in terms of what's happening inside the 45 minutes to hour of each episode.
Yeah, and it's just listen. Well, I'll address this as well. This is really to establish. We've said some of the people coming out of the school and some of the maybe not as heavily featured talents typically. Throughout the a regular AIW schedule. Some of these guys and girls don't get a lot of reps in as far as on AIW shows. However, I will say this: the events that we are going to do on April 29th and 30th do not coincide with anything going on with Go for Broke. They are completely two different vehicles, so to speak, if that makes sense. Go for Broke is like it's almost operating as its own standalone sort of, I guess, I don't know, like side project or whatever you want to call it. It's its own thing, and it's going to have whatever's going on with Go for Broke is going to have like no crossover as far as the 29th and 30th events are going to go, and vice versa. Nothing that's going to happen on those shows are going to play out on Go for Broke. I know maybe some people thought that there was going to be some intersecting things, and Go for Broke was setting up things for the 29th and 30th, and that is not the case at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's been some question. Look, nobody's getting Biggins bucks on April 29th or April 30th. None of that's happening. It's not going to play into it. The invitations had already been sent out for Go for Broke. Anybody who's part of that is a part of that. You're maybe going to see people on the 29th and 30th. Maybe. We still don't have a huge grasp on it. But you may see some people who are not a part of Go for Broke. There may be people who are part of Go for Broke that aren't there. So it's... like John said, two totally different things. Let me ask you this in terms of viewership. Last week when we talked about this, we thought maybe the number that we got from WrestleMania weekend, we didn't really know if that was overly high or was it low, because we thought, well, maybe there's a chance that we did really well, people liked it, and more people are going to watch it because everybody was at WrestleMania weekend. But it kind of ended up being the opposite, where everybody was watching everything that was happening over Mania weekend, and we were a part of that. IWTV talks to you, and they kind of give you an idea, hey, here's what the weekly shows do. When you look at that, and you look at what Go for Broke is now, and the reception that it's gotten, do you look at that number and say, okay, my goal is to shoot for this average, or is there part of you, because I know you said you wanted to re-engage the hardcore fans, but is there part of you that wants to, have this be the show that goes above that average and really starts to set a new standard?
Well, they don't give me really any indication on what any of the other shows do. That's somewhat of like confidential or whatever. So they're not like, hey, like this company did this many views or whatever. They will say like, okay, like this number seems to be, on par or whatever with most of the shows that are like this, things like that. Like they talk in very vague terms as far as that stuff is concerned. Now, like when we developed this was simply a way to utilize students and different talents and do it in a not lazy fashion, and kind of get creative in the presentation and hopefully make them a couple extra bucks. That was really the ultimate goal, was let's just get some stuff out there and get people engaged and, help kind of catapult or expedite the process on some of these talents coming out of the school, getting over, so to speak. And, I think it is serving that purpose. I don't know if it's going to be, the crown jewel, I guess, television show or whatever you want to call it on IWTV. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I think that's always going to boil down to live events and things like that, just like sports and everything. Like if you look at the way of the world, like what's getting, the big TV rights. It's, it's NBA, MLB, NFL, and
Sure.
AEW, WWE, like anything live. I think, I think that is always going to be the bread and butter probably of IWTV as well, is, a live, 3-hour show or whatever you want to call it. But, listen, I really had no expectations of the show, really. Like, I was really looking at this as like I said, a way to help, students, and not only students, because there's other people involved that aren't students, but, just talents that we want to eventually feature, as major players in AIW to eventually fill the lineups, I guess, so to speak, of the regular shows when things get back to normal. So I think in that, I guess, aspect, I think we are doing a good job, but we're only 2 episodes in, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
This thing could, it could shoot up to the sky and we can get a ton more viewership and momentum, or it could fall off a cliff. I'm not so nervous with, when comparing the numbers from WrestleMania weekend to the, first week of regular viewing. Like, now this Tuesday, if those numbers are even lower, and then the Tuesday after that, the numbers are even lower, then, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe, it just is what it is. And, we don't shoot more episodes, like, a lot of people keep going, yeah, this is on the, this is a 10-week thing because IWTV, I guess, has it on their calendar through 10 weeks, but it's an open-ended thing. You know what I mean? Like, there could be more episodes, there could be episodes removed. It really depends. Now, we've shot quite a bit of content, but we really don't know, like it's really up to the viewer. And Mr. Whiskers is
Hello, Whiskers.
trying to get in on the microphone here, but it's really up to the support, and it's too soon to tell now. I know you and I have different expectations of it. Like, you really want this thing to be the crown jewel, because you are editing it, and you are putting a lot of time into it. I think I think from a promoter standpoint, and a storytelling standpoint, and a trying to get talent over standpoint, I think it is going to do its job. From a is it going to be this gigantic phenomenon? I don't know. Like,
Sure.
It's too, you know what I mean? There's too many factors, and there's too much competition. And we do have a very hardcore fan base, but I mean, if you like, hey, like, everyone live tweet Go for Broke this Tuesday, like, you're getting the same, 15 people that are doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really don't know if it's just like hardcore AIW fans watching or what.
Well, and there's, the dynamic of being on demand. You see the numbers, or I imagine can get them. Does that tend to improve as the week goes on, because people can watch it whenever the heck they want?
People watch it, but I mean, it's not like a, it's not like a crazy, hundreds of people are watching it on demand sort of thing. You know what I mean?
So the bulk is still that at least for that, that second one.
Yeah, so far. I mean, and who knows, they're going to be up there forever. Obviously that's probably the plan. So it is content, and that always helps, and it helps, the bottom line of how we get paid is based on viewership and things like that on IWTV. So, I mean, there are a lot of, pros to it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The con to it is, if we don't have the Goldsteins, and if we don't have talent that volunteers. I mean, there's no way, absolutely no way that we do this and don't lose thousands and thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, I've listened to and read things on Twitter, and it's like, I hope this is like a yearly thing. And it's just like, this could be just a moment in time thing, and we never do it again, because it under normal circumstances, when wrestlers are getting bookings and, they have heavy schedules, it's a lot harder to get all these people in one place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if on like hey, we're going to volunteer and do this and see what happens. And hopefully, we get fan support. Like post-COVID, things like that are going to be a lot harder to coordinate, because there's...
Oh, sure.
Because shows are going to go from 0 to 1,000, like it's going to be, once the floodgates open on shows, and, we're seeing a little bit of it happening now throughout the country. Like it's going to be hard. So I don't know, we'll see. I know a lot of people want it, like people like, I hope that this is like a yearly thing or whatever. Like, the reality is if we don't have people like the Goldsteins and the fans that have been supporting the talents, then there's absolutely no way that this thing gets pulled off.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'll be honest too. Right now, I'm almost putting off finding a regular job, because this is a full-time job in terms of the amount of work that it takes, depending on the week. So it's a lot in my world too, and we're not in the situation where we can afford to pay people to do this production stuff. But two episodes in, and I will say, thank you to everybody who has been supporting the talents on this roster. But John, you would know better than I. Are those people who appeared in the first two episodes? What is their take been like? Are they happy? Are they seeing the support that they would like?
I haven't talked to everybody about it. Everyone's not going to share their business either.
That's true.
But I have heard from some people that were extremely happy with the risk that they took as far as doing this, and kind of putting it in the fans' hands. Quite a few people have said, they've received donations in some capacity. I don't know what the dollar amounts are. I'm sure they don't exactly want to tell anybody, yeah. You know what I mean? And
right.
But I've heard from a few people that were on the first two episodes, and people were extremely happy. Including the referees. Like, I don't know if Xavier got anything. I hope he did, but I know Tom Dunn said that he received donations. So
that's good.
Every little bit helps. You know what I mean? Like it's just such a weird time to be doing this. And, when we developed this concept, we didn't think that there was going to be a live show forever. We thought we were things were a lot different when we developed this whole thing. So I do hope though that these guys, especially, we're trying to use people for the most part that were underutilized throughout the entire pandemic, guys and girls. I hope that, they do find the support, and if you don't want to support them, you don't want to support them. That's totally understandable as well. But,
that's what I was going to say is, that's a thing too. I think that, the fans have been really great at acknowledging and realizing is that for a lot of these people, they weren't having these paydays because they weren't having wrestling matches during the pandemic. A lot of these people missed out on quite a bit of money during that they anticipated they were going to get. I mean, there were shows already booked out for a good portion of 2020 that of course got canceled. So there are people who already lined up, okay, I'm going to make this much on these days from X, Y, and Z shows. And with all of those being shut down for the better part and the bulk of 2020, that didn't happen. So this is at least a nice way, I think for some people to try to recuperate some of that lost money, and I think that fans realize that, and they've been great from at least a couple things that I've heard. So
yeah, nobody's getting rich from what I understand, but
No.
$10 here, $10 there, they appreciate it because at the end of the day, it's $10 more than they would have been making, so
yeah.
As far as I know, no one's gotten like crazy, like here's $500 or something like that, but nice, like what people can do, donations. And, from what I understand, people have been very appreciative of it, and the wrestlers put in, a lot of hard work, and there was a lot of other students that put in a lot of hard work that their donation stuff isn't up there,
Yeah.
But it really was a true team effort, and I'm proud of it. I think that it is, maybe however many episodes we settle on, I do think that once we figure it out, we're going to tell a decent enough story, and hopefully the goal is, we have new quote unquote stars to pull from in the future, because just like every other promoter in the world, like when we can do shows, I want to do as many shows realistically as we can, and I realize that there's a lot of those big money talents are gone. So many people have been signed throughout the pandemic. There has to be people to fill those voids, and there's talent everywhere, but is there talent that anybody's going to care about? I don't know. There's plenty of talented people out there, but I can book, wrestler X from, New York City or Louisville, Kentucky, or, wherever in the world. And it's like, is anybody going to care about that person more than this person? And I think really that's the point of Go for Broke, is to at least engage our fans in, when we do have to fill these slots on live shows, that they at least, have some sort of connection and, opinion, good or bad, and they don't look at these people as just filling spots, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk a little bit here about the 29th and 30th, but before we wrap up on talking about Go for Broke, first couple episodes, anybody so far that has stood out to you, or that fans really enjoyed and that surprised you, or you were happy to see that they really enjoyed and appreciated?
I think that I'll keep my opinions to myself, really, because my opinions will show when live shows come back.
Sure.
You'll see some people getting on, you'll see some people not getting on. It was, from my perspective, it was a great experience to see people rise to the occasion. Some people sink in the occasion. Some people recover in the occasion. You know what I mean? Like, there was so much that was learned from a promoter booker standpoint about these talents that, like I said, don't typically get a lot of reps in on shows, and it's different than going down to the school and seeing them perform and, run a practice match or something. So, there were people that were impressive. There were people that disappointed me. There were matches that, did not go well. And I think that's what's going to make the show, though. Like, there are matches that, aren't going to be, just well-rehearsed, masterpieces.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad match either. Like, stuff like that is, it's like, it's really like, calculus of the AIW wrestling school. It's just like going out there and, you versus you, and, let's see what happens. And it doesn't have to be magic necessarily in the ring. It can be something else and still be great. And that's really what I enjoyed about this entire process, was just seeing the different things. And, some people certainly impressed me. Some people, you'll see as the episodes go on, as far as what we've shot so far, there are some really kind of out of the box matchups that some go well and some don't go well, and it just it's really kind of helped me develop more of a well-rounded opinion on certain talents, and have a better idea of how to utilize them when we're doing more shows. And it's like, oh well, this person is right there, but if we can get a couple of these Winchester shows going and get them some more reps in front of a crowd, I think that's going to put them to where they need to be, and like just has the wheels turning on stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Just like to where it was just like everyone was kind of walking in on a blank slate almost, and it could be, and that could be, that was good for some people and bad for some other people,
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to, call anybody out or whatever, but, my opinions, I think you'll see as, shows pop up and different things happen. But it was certainly, I think, a great experience for, this wasn't only to re-engage fans, it was to re-engage me and re-engage the whole team, to be honest. And it really helped me kind of get back into the flow and into the mentality of things, because we were really down for pretty much the whole year outside of those two shows. So it's really helped me kind of start locking back in, and especially, and not only being there for the process, but now, Wadsworth and I, we do commentary in post. So, you get to watch through, like, we watch through an episode like 4 or 5 times. So, it really has helped me kind of, figure out what to do with these guys. And I'll always say this: it's very easy to cherry pick the best talent in the country and put on a show. It's much more difficult to find a place for people coming out of a wrestling school. And that's really where I think AIW has always thrived, is finding those like fringe talents, whether it's a fringe talent from wherever, or it is a fresh talent coming out of the school and making them matter. And that's really what I strive to do. And this process is really like has me locked in on doing that again.
Yeah. And one of my favorite parts of doing the show is doing these vignettes. And we had alluded to last week that some of these were going to get very personal, and I think that people saw that, and it was nice to see that people really enjoyed and appreciated like how personal some of these got, in terms of Kaplan talking about being arrested, and then on the other hand you had TKD on episode 2 in his vignette, and talking about being a gay man in the world of pro wrestling, and how he wasn't sure if he wanted that to be known.
Yeah, and that was really something we've all known. A little bit of behind the curtain is, we just set up a room, and we had an idea, like, okay, we want to, like, we wrote these episodes out that we have shot. And, it was just like, okay, we'll do X vignette on this episode, X vignette on this episode. But, like, we just grabbed people with, while you were shooting other things, we had a room set up, and I would just say, hey, Kaplan, come in here and have a seat. And there was no scripting, no warning, no bullet pointing, no anything. I would just press record, and I would start asking questions. And, knowing all these people, I would just ask certain questions. And, if there was anything they were uncomfortable with, they would say, nobody said it, but, they could be like, I don't want to talk about that. Or, there's a couple of people that were like, I don't know how to answer that. But it was really, that's why they are so personal, is because it was really just a freestyle conversation of, with a camera turned on. And, I think that's why they've turned out so well. And I had no script. I would just, press record, and I would look at Kaplan and, I would, why did you become a professional wrestler? And, what was your life like beforehand? And just different things. And there's a couple of these pretty much every episode, I'm pretty sure. So there's a lot more to come. And, I think stuff like that, going back to the kind of making people care, and not just utilizing like a talent to fill a spot, things like that, especially for the hardcore AIW fans, are really going to help, get people behind in rooting for these people. Even people that will even be presented as quote unquote heels or whatever on a show. It's still giving people some, humanization, so to speak, and, or humanizing them, however you want to say it. And it's, they're not, like, this week, there's a little spoiler alert. There's a great sit down with Arthur MacArthur on this, on episode 3. And I think that is really going to change people's perspective on him, and there's so many more coming up in the upcoming weeks to where, these people, it takes them from just being like a wrestler, you know what I mean? And it gives them a little bit more depth. And I think, that's what AIW is really all about, is, about putting heart into things and, the shows and things like that. And I think for the hardcore AIW fans, these vignettes are just going to really knock it out of the park for some of these people that, were on the fringe of AIW shows, or, you've only seen in dark matches or on smaller shows or haven't seen it all. And, I don't know how they play to the broader audience worldwide. I really don't, but this is really a vehicle for our fan base because that's who supports us.
Yeah, what I like to ideally think about as the big picture with this is we talked a lot of times about all these dream matchups, and I really feel like what we're doing here is bringing storytelling back to wrestling in a very real way, because that's what all of this is. I mean, we're telling the stories of these individuals as well as telling that kind of this long form story with the entire show. It's been stressful at times, but it's been a lot of fun and rewarding. Sometimes the interesting thing for me is, like you said, all these sit downs are very freestyle. So for me, the interesting thing is kind of finding the story within, with all that you talk about with everybody. All right, let me leave you with this on Go for Broke. I know we said we'd stop talking about it, but I can't not bring this up, John Thorne, because last Tuesday was the long-awaited singles debut in AIW for local legend Razor Sharp.
Yeah, so, Razor Sharp is a perfect example of really catering to the AIW hardcore audiences. He's the promoter of UXWA. He uses a lot of AIW students on his shows when he does promote. He is at every AIW show. He's I don't want to say he's like he's like the AIW mascot, because that doesn't really do him justice. But, he is there and he's so supportive and such a positive person. Mm-hmm. And listen, he knows he's not the best wrestler, but when we were writing this show, and there was just something that, it was just like, let's put Razor Sharp on it, and would Razor Sharp find his way on a regular AIW show? Probably not. But for this, it really worked, I thought. And like I said, if you are a hardcore AIW or Cleveland wrestling fan, you know him, you're always rooting for him. And I thought that it was just such a great kind of story, at least for, the people that do know who he is, to just because they know how important it is and how special it is for him to appear on an AIW event. And this is, obviously an unconventional AIW event, but it's still an AIW, presentation nonetheless. And, he told somebody that, it was a dream come true. He never, ever thought that he would appear on IWTV, on a, he was in the Gauntlet at one time, but,
Yeah.
as far as a live broadcast, quote unquote, live thing on IWTV, he said it was a dream come true for him to appear on there. And, that's what wrestling is all about, is, just making stories happen like that. And is Razor Sharp going to win the Go for Broke? Probably not. But is it a good thing, or it was just a good positive thing that we could do, and it was it's a little looser format, and it worked, and I was happy to allow him to participate in it, and I think he was very appreciative, and he is an ongoing character. At least in, he'll be seen in some of these backstage segments and things like that. It was just, I don't know. It was just one of those feel good things. I realized that some people are probably watching it and like, who the fuck is this guy? And, whatever. It wasn't for you. It was for him, and, I think that it was, I think it was a good thing. It honestly made me smile when I was watching that match happen live. And I think it made a lot of people smile, especially, the wrestlers and the people that, are familiar with them. Listen, Razor Sharp supports this company so much. Like, we got a new shirt, he buys it. He'll buy like a shirt, he'll buy shirts from Pro Wrestling Tees. He buys merch. You're a wrestler, you got a shirt in his size, he's buying it. He tries to support everybody, and this was a nice way to kind of pay it forward and let him, it sounds corny, but let him kind of live out his dream.
Yeah. Hey, you talk about the hardcore AIW fans and the lore of Razor Sharp. I don't think that fans realize that it's not just them, the ones who are outside of the ring, that have this, I can't think of a word, but this love, I guess, for Razor Sharp. But during the course of the broadcast on Tuesday night, John Thorne, I won't name names, but you even received a text message from a major player, major star on AEW, and I will leave it at that. And that person was so excited to see Razor Sharp in AIW on IWTV. So people love Razor Sharp.
People are rooting for him, Yeah. And listen. That's what it's all about. And, and really, I think that is the story of AIW, honestly, is we're never going to be the best, well-polished in-ring product. I don't want to be that. I think that's boring. I really do. I think it's so boring to just put on a good wrestling show, as crazy as that sounds. Like, it's boring. It's easy. Like, it is easy to just put on a good wrestling show. It's way harder to, like, make people care about somebody like Razor Sharp. You know what I mean? Or... like, it's just and it's just funner this way. Honestly, it is.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And I'll stick to that forever. I could put a good wrestling show on in my sleep. I could buy a bunch of flights and it'll go great. But I don't know. There's just I just think there's more heart in developing these guys locally or from wherever and making them. And girls, because you're going to see some development, with female talent throughout the Go for Broke as well. I just think it's, I don't know, it's just a lot more fun this way. And, letting Razor Sharp go out there and have a match for 2 minutes or whatever it was, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, as we kind of come to a close and wind down, April 29th, April 30th, coming up fast, John Thorne. We will be streaming live on IWTV. We told you guys that last week. We broke that news. If you didn't listen to last week's podcast, you're hearing it here now for the first time again, or you've at least seen it on social media. But how close are you to figuring out these shows, John Thorne?
Not very close. I mean, it's hard. It really is hard because you do want to come back with a live show in front of fans with a little bit of firepower, you know what I mean? Which is a little bit different than the Go for Broke presentation. And it's really hard, with, there's people signed and there's, it's just, it's really difficult. And, we're working with a fixed budget, like we've sold those tickets. It is a fixed budget. This is how much money we have to spend. And, it's really difficult. And it's like, we also want to present two completely different events. And, you have to mix up talent. And, I will say some people that are going to be there on Thursday are not going to be there on Friday. Some people that are going to be there on Friday are not going to be there Thursday. And it is a gigantic puzzle that I'm trying to put together. And, you lay the blueprint out and you think you got it. And then, you get well, I can't do it. I was exposed to somebody with COVID. I have to quarantine. There are all these different things. Yeah. And it's, it's been difficult. And it's like I've had probably 30 incarnations of this card. And then it's just like, okay, we can do it. And then it's just like, oh, well, I can't do it now. I can't get off my job that day, or, I thought I could do it. Now, I can't do it. So, people have a lot of different life things that they're juggling too, as far as real jobs, and, nobody wants to piss off their real job in the pandemic. You know what I mean? So it's
right.
Like,
yeah.
I can't take off on a Thursday, or I can't take off on a Friday. And, just things like that. It's been extremely difficult to kind of coordinate. And, we're going to get through it. I have a shell of what I want to do as of right now, but again, there's only so much firepower you can bring out when you're only doing 100 tickets too, so
yeah,
it's really difficult. And, there's other shows going on, and, it is been stressful, and as soon as I have it figured out, I get a text or a message, and I got to change the whole thing again, and it's not, you can't just change one piece because you're trying to make both nights different. And some people can do this one night, and some people can do this night, and if you got to move one piece from that night, it's really hard to maneuver that puzzle around. I don't know. It's been very difficult. I will say that. And, I do not have the shows figured out at all. I will tell you that, there's no doubt in my mind that I am going to come up with something that is, going to be acceptable, at the very least acceptable. But I'm certainly trying to, blow it out of the water as best as we can.
Well, there you go. Rest assured, folks, you are going to get a show that you enjoy, or two shows if you're coming both nights, the 29th and the 30th. It will be exciting. If you don't have one of those 100 tickets, then the only way to watch it is IWTV. We will be streaming both nights, April 29th and Friday, April 30th. John Thorne, let's end on something very fun and positive that we've yet to talk about in the few weeks bringing this back. Yeah,
hold on. I do want to deflate any expectations that Filthy Tom Lawler will not be there on the 29th or 30th, because he is returning to MMA on April 29th on ESPN. So for that is one big kind of blow that we must expose in advance, because I know everybody in the world that is an AIW fan wants to fucking clap the sleepyhead. He is going to be in the cage that night, so he will not be there, and I'll leave it at that.
We will miss him, that's for sure. We already,
but he's going to win but if he wins, he's winning $1 million, and he'll probably let us borrow some of it one day or something. So
yeah,
go Tom Lawler. Hope you win.
go Filthy Tom Lawler. Yeah, and you know what? That's exciting and positive news to come to this close with too. Tom Lawler has the potential to win $1 million. But the one that I was going to say is, for the longest time, we would joke on this podcast about where a certain individual is. And as of late, everybody knows exactly where he is because he's been popping up on Wednesday nights on AEW Dynamite, and that is Laredo Kid. How excited for him are we?
Oh man, it's amazing for Laredo Kid. He had a really tough year. His dad died. I think his brother also died. He had a few deaths in his family. So for him to be getting the recognition that he finally deserves, I'm extremely happy. I talked to him after his big AEW main event, and I told him I was proud of him. And it was good to talk to him. He's another guy. Like, dude, like we were bringing him in on shows that were losing money. Like that flight is like $600. Like it's Laredo, Texas is a weird flight into Cleveland, Ohio. But he's amazing, and it's at that time nobody was really using him, and it's incredible to see the success that he has. Finally, the recognition that he's finally deserved, and hopefully he gets a contract or something like that. But very excited for Laredo Kid. Just AIW legend, no doubt. A great guy too. Like that's as tough as it is to see so many people getting signed, which means you can't book them anymore in AIW. It's also equally awesome seeing them, get paid, and make a living and, get the recognition that they deserve.
What do you think that Build-A-Bear selection's like in Jacksonville, Florida?
It's probably pretty good. I wonder if he goes missing around the Jaguar Stadium like he used to go missing on AIW show days.
They just need to put a Build-A-Bear in Daly's place and they'll be good to go.
Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, it is great to see people that have come through AIW really getting that success that we always knew that they deserved, and that's to bring it full circle. That's what Go for Broke's all about, is kind of developing those talents and hopefully preparing them to go off. And not everybody's going to be a home run, but I think that there's a lot of meat on the bone, so to speak, with Go for Broke and talent development.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great way to end it right there. Hey, make sure you are tuning in to AIW Go for Broke Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Whether you're watching it with us during that broadcast or you are streaming it on demand at some other time, talk about it. Engage with us on Twitter. We love hearing from you and talking with you about the show. Use the hashtag AIWGFB. Let us know what you think about it. And we can't wait to see so many of you on April 29th and 30th. And
let's get those numbers up on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, Tuesday and the 29th and 30th. Obviously, well, before we wrap it up, I'll talk, about this. We could have put the 29th and 30th on Fight, and went the premium route. We're gonna put it on IWTV, and the hope is that if we get enough viewership, that it kind of balances out that premium cost, or that premium price and residuals that you would get off of a Fight pay-per-view. So please, and it's all about watching live, as far as those live streams go. There's I don't want to get too inside baseball, but when it's broadcasting live, it is better for the company if you're watching it live as opposed to on demand. On demand helps as well, but I really fucking want to get AIW to where, there's no argument that we are in that top tier and of independent wrestling. And I think we're doing things differently. I think, we are certainly an alternative to, the other top tier independent companies who are all deserving. I'm not saying that they're not. I just want to be in that. I just want to be in the conversation, and to be in that conversation, we need more people to watch our stuff and stream it live. And, that's why we're putting it on IWTV. We're kind of sacrificing, that premium price tag or whatever, in hopes that we can get enough viewership to where it works out enough for us. But ultimately the goal is to get more eyes on everything that's going on.
There you go. I will end it with this episode of AIW's The Card is Going to Change has set a new record. 54 minutes into an episode until John Thorne said fuck.
There it is. Is that true? You got a fuck counter going?
I never did until right now. I realized, holy shit, we went.
You sure I didn't say it earlier?
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong about this, but I am almost positive that you did not say it until right then.
I want some fucking support. Come on, let's go. Watch live on Tuesday. Watch live on the 29th and 30th. Hopefully, I'll book a good enough show. I think we've definitely booked a good enough television show for Go for Broke, with what we shot so far, and let's keep the momentum going upwards, and sky's the limit for 2021. I'm feeling positive this year. Feeling positive.
I like it. I like it a lot. There you go, folks. Tune in every Tuesday, until we tell you not to, at 10 p.m. on IWTV. Follow along on Twitter. Tweet along with us. Use the hashtag AIWGFB. April 29th, April 30th. Watch IWTV streaming live. It's AIW and our big return with a small crowd, but a crowd nonetheless. It'll be very excited. Our first show in well over a year in Cleveland, Ohio. And other than that, thanks for tuning in. For AIW owner John Thorne, my name's Steve Guy. We'll talk to you next week right here on AIW's The Card is Going to Change.